Hello everybody, and welcome back to Pokemon White. So in the last part, we have essentially went through, I want to say at least halfway through Route of 13 so far. Now, you may be thinking, am I going to go through the rest of it now? But not for this video. I'm actually going to be spending my time in a place called the Giant Chasm. Now, if you recall, back when we were in Laganosa, and that old woman said there was a monster living here, well, I'm not gonna go after it yet, because my team is still woefully underleveled for it. Yeah, so that is why I'm essentially gonna spend my time in the Giant Chasm, trying to find and catch every single Pokemon I can. And which is not going to be that Swellow. Yeah, once again my Zekrom is too strong for not only Tangela, but also Swellow too. Yes. Okay, so, but anyways, everyone now. But, anyways, everyone, as I was saying, yeah, I'm also going to be spending my time in this video just trying to find and catch every single Pokemon I can find within the Giant Chasm. And also trying to get the majority of the items that I can find within the Giant Chasm as well. Yeah, considering that there are plenty of items that you can actually find there. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna be spending my time here. But anyways, everyone, now as to the Pokemon that we can find on the outside of the chasm itself. Well, as I said previously, the Pokemon that we can find within Route of 13, they can also be found here as well. Well, except for the Pokemon that are in the water. Well, obviously, consider that there is no water here whatsoever. And also there are no Shuppets roaming around, and there's also no possibilities of any Shuppets that can possibly be swarming here as well. So yeah, it is just essentially the same as Route of 13. Now consider that I've already gotten Golbat, Solrock, and Drifblim, and just now Absol, as you can see. Yeah, yeah, just got Absol. Absol, that is the disaster Pokemon. Yeah, Absol may be called a disaster Pokemon, but it's more so that it can just sense disasters. It doesn't exactly cause any disasters. But anyways, as I was saying, since I've got Golbat, Solrock, Drifblim, and just now Absol, yeah, now I just need to find, once again, Swellow, and once again, Tangela, and I also still need to find, a Lunatone as well. So, yeah, depending on how things go, yeah, I may be here for a while. Yeah, before we actually go inside the cave and whatnot. But anyways, now consider we've seen not only Swellow and also Absol, I may as well go over their sprites now. Now Swellow, both of these Pokemon both Swellow and also Absol. They have new sprites. They have brand new sprites as well. Yeah, Swellow is just essentially almost the same position as its pre-evolution Tailo. Yeah, it was essentially would just sit there, just mind its own business. Yeah, essentially just look at itself to be all proud of itself and whatnot. And then as for Absol, Absol now really looks like he really wants to put himself a fight now. So yeah, but that's really something. Oh yeah, that's right. I should probably mention as well about Tanglers. Yeah, considering that they're at least level 40s, meaning that they will always come with the move that they actually need to know in order for you to evolve them. So yeah, you really don't have to bother just trying to level it up like crazy. All you really have to do is just to get it up to like one more level, and you will have yourself a tank growth. And Tangela here is definitely putting itself a hard time right now. Yeah, this Tangela will not stay the goddamn inside. Yeah, as I was saying, Tangela will not stay the goddamn inside the... Will not stay the freaking inside the freaking Ultra Ball already. Like, jeez. Come on. Okay, thank you. Thank God for that. Tangela, the fine Pokemon. Yeah, Tangela's definitely a Pokemon that is usually made of vines. Yeah, that is all that you really need to know about Tangela. Okay, now now I just need to not only refine Swellow, and I still need to find a single wild friggin', and I also still need to find a single wild friggin' for Lodotone for once. Yeah. But anyways, yeah, since I'm just gonna be exploring around this area, just trying to find Pokemon, I may as well go over something that I've also probably... Now, considering all throughout this playthrough, I've mostly been talking about the Gen 5 Pokemon's appearances in the anime. Yeah, I figured I may as well. I figured I may as well start again with the others too. Considering I'm almost considering that I'm almost done talking about about every possible Gen 5, about almost every Gen 5 Pokemon that we've seen up to this point, or even talked about anyway. So yeah, now I may as well start going over the Pokemon from the previous gens. Now, but first off, Swellow. Now, thankfully, we also did manage to find another Swellow. Now it's just a matter of if I can actually get him weak enough so that I can start getting him too. But anyways, now speaking of Swellow, I may as well go over him first. Now, Swellow. Yeah, for Swellow's appearances in the anime, now, while Swellow has appeared plenty of times, it's mostly been Ash's Swellow. Yeah, it's mostly been Ash's Swellow. Now, well, there have been other Swellows in the anime, but even after the Gen 3 anime, yeah, the Swellow that you really see outside of Gen 3, out of the past the Gen 3 anime, is still Ash's. Yeah, honestly, I wish there was more Swellow appearances that were not Ash's, really. Well, I'm not saying that Ash's Swellow is bad. I'm just saying, I just wish we could see more Swellows that were not Ash's all the time. Yeah. But anyways. Oh, there we go. Okay, there we go. Now we got Swellow. Yeah, officially this time. Swellow, the Swallow Pokemon. Yeah, Swellow here is... Yeah, Swellows are definitely your typical Swallows every day. Okay. Okay, now I believe if we encounter at least one more Tangela and one more Absol, and also one more Swellow now. Excuse me. Yeah, then we are gonna go start our way through inside the cave. Okay. And now you are Absol. Okay, yeah, I think, yeah, I am safe to assume this is our third one because I have not been paying this enough attention. Yeah, I really have not been paying attention to how many Pokemon we've seen. But, anyways, Anyways, now we're finally gonna be inside the Giant Chasm cave. And here's where we're gonna get even more Pokemon if possible. And here's one of them right now. Piloswine. Now, as you can see, Piloswine here, Piloswine here essentially has the same sprite now he essentially has the same sprite from Heart Gold and Soul Silver, but now with the animations, yeah, now we can actually see Piloswine's eyes. Yeah, Piloswine's eyes are really tiny. But anyways, Piloswine, the swine Pokemon. Yeah, just like it's a pre-evolution swine up. Yeah, Piloswines are very swine. But anyways, now also in this cave, you can still find Bulldars, and also Lunatone, Solrox, and Golbats as well. But also within this cave, this is actually the only place in the game where you can not only find wild Jinxes, Sneasels, and also Delibirds. So yeah, this is essentially a place where some like ice types live in. And speaking of ice types, well, half of it anyway. Now if you just happen to be surfing around here, yeah, not only can you still find Basculins, but you can also find the Seals and Dugons here. So yeah, like I said, this is a place where you can mostly see ice types here. But the Pokemon I'm really going to be getting is a Seal, considering it is still once again the pre-evolution of Seal. It is still essentially the pre-evolution of Dugong. And I cannot weaken him for shit, considering he's at level 35, so I'm just going to be chugging on the boss again. And hope my luck's for the best. And it actually worked. Alright, I will gladly accept that. Anyways, the Seal, the Sea Lion Pokemon. Yeah, Seals are definitely sea lions. Yeah, considering they're called seals, meaning they are your typical seals once again. But anyways, that's what Pokemon, once again, while fishing, yeah, you can still find Poliwhite, Poliwhirl, and Poliwrath still. Yeah, essentially just the same like Pokemon that you would find in, essentially the same Pokemon you can find fishing within the other caves and whatnot. But anyways, now let's see other Pokemon I could probably talk about when it comes to the anime. Lunatone and Solrock. Yeah, even though they've made... And, well, actually, Lunatone only made one appearance in Journeys? No way. Lunatone did make at least three appearances in Journeys, while Solrock only appeared once during Journeys. Yeah, and they still have yet to make an appearance in Horizons yet. Yeah, we are now in 100 episodes into Horizons, and yeah, still no Solrock or Lunatone yet. Or maybe we just won't see them. And speaking of not seeing Lunatone, yeah, with that third Golbat, which means we're done with the cave. But however, we can still find Lunatones and Solrocks as we go deeper into the Giant Chasms still. So yeah, essentially another place where we can find Lunatones and Solrocks. Yeah, apparently Lunatones and Solrocks are apparently more common in friggin' apparently they're a lot more common in Unova than you would think they are. It's just a matter of actually finding them. Which apparently I'm having issues with trying to find at least one wild Lunatone. Yeah, even though I've seen plenty of, I've seen at least seen a few wild Solroks now, but apparently Lunatone just doesn't want to show itself. Yeah. But anyways, as I was saying, yeah, Lunatones and Solroks in the anime, yeah, they still don't show up that often. And the same also goes for Tangela too. Yeah, even though it is a Pokemon from Gen 1, so you would think it would get of more, especially during the Kanto anime, and maybe even Johto. But no, apparently Tangela really still doesn't get that many like appearances in the anime. Now Drifblim, well, it has made several appearances, but never really all that major, really. Yeah, Drifblim, yeah, it's usually out in the wild. Yeah, but we usually see not only Drifblims, but also Drifloons just floating about. But they don't want to do anything major like Fantina's Drifblim. But anyways, now we're at the Giant Chasm Plains. And now, here's where we can actually find some more decent Pokemon. Like, say, these two, for example. And one of them is me! Except this one is not shiny. But also, you can also find wild Unbatanes here, too. So, yeah, for those of you wondering who wanted to get themselves some Metagross, yeah, now this place is the only place in the game. Now the Giant Chasm Plains is the only place during Gen 5 where you can actually get yourself a wild Unbatane. And as you saw there, yeah, I decided I wanted to go after Matane first. Yeah, I'll try Ditto again later. Although that is if I can actually find myself another one, that is. Yeah, considering that. Yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna be that lucky if I'm gonna find myself another Ditto. But anyways, everyone now. As I was saying about Lunatones and Solroks again, they can also appear here too. So yeah, like I said, Lunatones and Solroks are apparently a lot more common in friggin' Shi-E. They're apparently a lot more common in Shi-E Unova. And you can also find a wild Clefairies here too. And also everyone, if you encounter Pokemon you encounter in the rustling grass, you can not only find wild Clefables, wild Mamoswines, and also wild Metagross as well. So yeah, that's right. If you want to skip Clefairy, Piloswine, and Matane together, you can't do so. And I think this is about as much damage as I could do to this Matane. So yeah, and now here goes our long process of trying to get a Matane. Because for those of you who have played any Pokemon game, may know the very low catch rate of the Beldum line. Yeah, Beldum, Matane, and Metagross definitely have a very low catch rate. Yeah, even if they're not only very low leveled, and also they have a status effect to them. Yeah, which is probably why we're probably gonna spend our time here, just hopefully I can actually get this goddamn Matang. Yeah. And I definitely had horror. Yeah, and this not only goes into Matang, but every time I encounter a wild Beldum, I'm like, oh my god, why? Why am I going for this again? Why am I doing this to myself? Because I know the friggin' horror that is of trying your best to get a goddamn wild Beldum. Just, yeah, even though it is more weaker than a Matane, but yet they are still just as tough to get. Like, jeez. like, you're probably gonna spend, like, all of your time just wasting a bunch of Pokeballs just trying to get at least one, like, just trying to get at least one Beldum. Just one. But anyways, now, and speaking of Metang here, now, I guess I should go over, actually, I think I should go over what I actually did, when I actually played through Pokemon White for the very first time. Now, I don't usually switch around my Pokemon. Now, I don't usually switch around my team, especially when it comes to post-game. Yeah, I don't usually switch around my Pokemon during a post-game. Although, unless it is on some occasions, for example, when I play through, for example, when I did my playthroughs of Platinum and also Soul Silver, after I was done during the, essentially, after I was done exploring around, and I was essentially just going through the rematches against the gym leaders. Yeah, I essentially just spent my time just trying to get my team more stronger. But anyways, yeah, I just saw it. Now I finally got Metang. Metang, the Iron Claw Pokemon. So yeah, Metane's definitely got those Iron Claws that definitely look like Beldums. But anyways, everyone, now back to what I was saying. Now, during the only times that I really did, that I actually did switch around my team during post-game. For example, when I switched, I believe it was my Machamp that I swapped for the Dialga during a Platinum. And then during Soul Silver, I switched my Geodude for the Mewtwo. But however, but however, considering when I went through Pokemon White the first time, I didn't exactly have an actual full team where I really utilized every single one of them. Yeah, the only Pokemon that I really used during my first time during Pokemon White, it was only Ember, Scyther, Crocodile, and also Substriga. But then it wasn't until once again I swapped my Substriga for the Zekrom. Yeah, and I still had my Unpheasant to be the flying Pokemon. Yes, that left really only one Pokemon for me to essentially that I really wanted to use. So that left essentially one slot that was left wide, was essentially left open for a very long time. But then it was until I came here, and then after I caught that Metang, now I not only now with that Metang, with that Metang, I actually caught it, and I actually decided to put him to actually put that Metang on my team, and I of course evolved him. She evolved him into Metagross, and he was actually really darn helpful to me. Metagross was definitely very handy, especially when I was fighting my rematches against Marshall. Yeah, considering that, my offensive was still very underleveled, especially during post game. So I really didn't have any Pokemon that was really good against the fighting types. So I definitely needed something, and that Metagross definitely proved to be a lot more useful than you really think it was. But now that I have an actual full team for this playthrough, which means I'm not going to be using any Metangs or Metagross for this playthrough. And speaking of Kenshi Pokemon, I finally got my Ditto! Ditto, the Transform Pokemon. Yay! I am, yes indeed I am the Pokemon who can transform into anything. Especially, even the humans as well. So you had better be on the lookout. Because, you never know that a Ditto could be hiding in plain sight. But anyways, everyone, so yeah, essentially, my first time playing a Pokemon White was actually the very first time that I ever got to utilize not only Metang, but also a Metagross as well. And I can definitely see why Metagross is considered a Pseudo Legendary. Cause that Metagross, the Metagross I had definitely proved to be very, very useful. But anyways, now with this Clefairy that I'm hoping I can also get here. Come on, there we go. All right, good. Bring. Clefairy, the fairy Pokemon. Yeah, it may be called a fairy right now, but since Fairy Time weren't a thing until the next gen, being that Clefairy isn't really a fairy now. Fairy isn't really a fairy right now. No, is it? But anyways, as I was saying, now that I've got almost every Pokemon I want to get here, now once again I just need to find my Lunatone. But if I encounter at least one more Piloswine, or one more Metang, or even one more me, then we are going to be down here. Or unless if I encounter another Solrock, again, I keep seeing Solrocks and not Lunatoads. Like, goddamn, like why is Solrock more common than friggin' Lunatoads? Wait, are they more common and less common between versions? I honestly forget if they are. Yeah, I honestly forget if they are or not. But anyways, now with this third Metang, which means we are officially done with the Giant Chasm. Until I decide to actually come back here so that we can try to go after that monster. But anyways, but anyways. Now, and I guess I should say as well, especially for Metang, now considering, you can actually find Metangs that are level 55. Yeah, meaning that, meaning that, and considering that Metangs evolved into Metagross up until at least level 45, meaning that, you only really need to have your Metang only be leveled up once in order for you to actually evolve it. Definitely one of the more easier times for you to actually get yourself it's definitely one of the more easier times for you to actually get yourself a Metagross. But anyways, I definitely need more Ultra Balls, considering I used the majority of them on the friggin' Metang. I definitely used the majority of them on that Metang. But anyway, with that said, that should be all I'm going to do for this part. And so the next part, we shall be continuing on through Route 13. And so until then, I'll see you guys next time.